Treat yourself like you are your own child. Treat yourself like you are your own baby. I know this may sound unusual, but if you truly want to survive in a world that sometimes seeks to tear you down, you must learn to treat yourself with the same care, protection, and intentional love that good parents give their children. Have you ever taken time to observe how intentional parents treat their children? The way they protect them, the way they defend them, the way they refuse to let anyone belittle or harm them. Let me illustrate with a real-life story. Her name is Rachel. Rachel was born into a beautiful, upper-class family with strong cultural influence in society. It was a large, extended family filled with high achievers. No one had ever had a child out of wedlock. No one had ever divorced. They were, by every visible standard, a perfect family. But Rachel got pregnant immediately after high school and had her baby out of wedlock. While her family looked perfect on the outside, they lacked empathy. They treated Rachel like an outcast. The emotional abuse became unbearable. Eventually, she had to move away from the family home, so her child could grow up in a healthier environment. What finally pushed her to leave was when her aunt called. Her baby, a child whose father is unknown, and used a degrading word to describe the child. The baby was too young to understand, but Rachel understood, and she made a decision. She decided she would not stay anywhere her child could be bullied. At barely 18 years old, still financially dependent on her family for food, clothing, shelter, and protection, Rachel chose to leave. She swore her child would live well. She swore her child would stand shoulder to shoulder with her peers in society. She swore her child would never be defined by shame. Now imagine something. Imagine that the child Rachel was protecting was you. Imagine you defending yourself from your abusers the way Rachel defended her baby. Imagine you reassuring yourself that those who hurt you will never have access to you again. Sometimes the deep hurt we carry comes from the times we failed to defend ourselves. I once spoke to a divorcee named John. Years after leaving his abusive marriage, he still struggled to forgive himself. He condemned himself. He said he sabotaged his own life by staying too long. The self-condemnation nearly cost him his life. Self-sabotage is one of the greatest sins we commit against ourselves. Enduring environments that slowly destroy you is a disservice to your existence. Many people say, "My children will never go through what I went through." But I often wonder, do you hate yourself? Why should you endure what you would never allow your child to endure? You deserve the life you envision for your children. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you continuously endure hatred and vile treatment, bitterness will eventually take root. And when that happens, you may become unrecognizable, even to yourself. You may become the opposite of the sweet parent or loving partner you once hoped to be. You may bleed on people who never hurt you. And worst of all, your children may one day struggle to stay close to a version of you that was never healed. Now back to Rachel. Years later, during Christmas, a time when her family traditionally gathered, Rachel planned to drop her 9-year-old daughter at a friend's house before going to her family home. She didn't want her child exposed to her relatives' sharp tongues. Her friend encouraged her to take her daughter along. Rachel hesitated but eventually agreed. By then, she was financially independent. She had worked hard, both smart and tirelessly, for her child's future. When she arrived, one of her aunts muttered, "Here comes the black sheep of the family." Rachel heard it but pretended not to. But when that same aunt added, "I see you came with this child of yours whose father remains a mystery," something changed. Rachel lost her calm. She thundered like a roaring lion. She warned her aunt never to speak ill of her child again. She made it clear that no one would humiliate her daughter. Her voice carried authority. Her eyes carried fire. Everyone heard. Everyone saw. Her child saw. And that mattered most. Throughout the rest of the holiday, no one dared to mock her child again. For the first time, Rachel left the family house without heartache, without torment, without bitterness. Now, imagine if she had fought for herself years earlier, the way she fought for her child. This is your reminder. Protect yourself by all means. Fight for yourself the way you would fight for a child you love. Because in truth, you are your first child. You are your first assignment on earth. Take care of yourself. and everything else will begin to align that if you love this message, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you.